What's up, guys? This is Automotive Anonymous, and we're doing something a little bit different today from our typical car review. This is my brand new 2023 Mazda MX-5 Miata Club in snowflake white mica pearl. It's a darn cool car. It's actually the funnest car I've ever driven, and if you've been following my channel for any length of time, I've driven the 1,000 horsepower Tesla Plaid. I've driven a few 500 and 600 horsepower supercharged VA cars, but the little MX-5 Miata by Mazda, with its cute little angry face, is the funnest car that I have ever driven or ridden in. That includes the BRZ, which is also a cool car. But let's get into it. Let's talk about why I bought an MX-5 Miata. First of all, big shout out to Goody Mazda in Southern Idaho. They're a fantastic dealership to work with, and that's who I ordered this from. This is the Club trim, which is the second of the 3 trim levels. Don't worry, we'll do a full review of it soon. But the Club is the enthusiast one. It has the black wheels, the black mirrors, the black liner around the windscreen, and most importantly, a limited slip differential in the back, so you can take it to the track. You can spin both tires if you want. And it has one of the best mechanical 6-speed transmissions in the business, with not very many linkages, because, yep, you've guessed it, the transmission literally sits underneath that tunnel. With the majority of the engine sitting behind the front wheel line, it's basically a front mid-engine car, 50-50 weight balance. It weighs 2,300 pounds. Even something like the GR86 or the BRZ weighs 500 pounds more than this. So there's literally nothing like driving the Miata on the street, which is part of the experience that you feel for why this is the funnest car I've ever driven, because nothing else is like it. Not only that, but it revs to 7,500 RPM. What other little 4-cylinder looks this good from the factory, no fake plastics or engine covers, and can rev literally to the moon and back? My recent Miata journey started back last summer. Before I started this channel, I drove a 2016, also known as an ND1 Miata, that didn't even have the same power level as this, but otherwise the same body style and configuration. And I was taken away. I had just sold my LS1 Trans Am that was probably about a 400 horsepower car with the bolt-ons, the headers, the tune, everything I did to it. And the Miata, which for some reason had been on my mind for a few weeks before that 2016 test drive, that confirmed that this had to be the next car. I will say, based off of the cars I've driven on the channel, not to be confused with any of the other incredible cars I've driven outside of the channel and before last July when I started this channel, but when I was driving the 1,000 horsepower Plaid, I honestly wanted to give it back by the end of the drive and hop in one of these, because I had been in one of these only a few weeks earlier. The 2022 Miatas are actually the first dealer reviewed car that I did on my channel, kind of foreshadowing for moments like today. Also, I will say that the closest driving experience I've had to the level of enjoyment that this car brings is the ZL1 with the 1LE package. Losing traction in 3rd gear at 60, hearing the supercharger whine, it's phenomenal. That peak experience might be slightly higher than the plateau experience that this car always provides. So it had to be Miata. We don't live in the peaks, we live in the plateau, so having a car that is fun all the time and isn't twice as expensive to run to have very few and basically illegal moments to having more enjoyment than something like this, just driving down the road, I honestly can't help but grin ear to ear. Oh, and did I mention, after leaving the dealer, resetting the trip, going a few miles through town, and it's averaging 37 mpg. These are rated for 34, but people have been getting into the low 40s on the MX-5. Anyways, this isn't the full review, so back to the story. I knew I wanted one of these last June, about a month and a half before I even started the channel, so I had decided when could I order one that would not be a stressful experience, and I knew about the start of the year would be that time. I ordered this about 6 weeks ago. That's all it took for the Hiroshima plant to get the order, to make it, and to ship it to the United States. I'm pretty impressed, because some of the 2022s with all the shortages took up to 8 months, I've heard on the forums, to actually arrive. So at 6 weeks, I'm very fortunate. There's not a whole lot of extra options on the Club trim, but one that I have nicknamed the Fancy Package, which is essentially the track package. For $4,500, you can upgrade these black machine aluminum wheels to BBS forged wheels with a Brembo front brake, Recaro seats that also have the Bose in them, and the heated feature, which Mazda heated seats are actually really good in my experience. And then it adds the side skirts similar to the front, and to the rear, which for $4,500, nothing looks as good as one of those. But the essence of this car is to be like the modern lightweight British roadster that's actually reliable and gets good MPG, that doesn't cost you an arm and a leg to operate. And I decided I don't want $1,500 seats and fancy wheels that as soon as one gets scratched or anything weird happens, you're gonna be beating yourself up for it. That's the opposite of what this vehicle is, which in reality is to take your mind off of your own vehicle and onto the drive, to feel connected to the car and experience your surroundings. Is it just me, or does the front look like a baby Supra of the current generation? That's at least what I think. I love the white and black contrasting colors. Part of the reason I chose the snowflake white metallic, pearl mica, all the names really, is because it doesn't show dirt very well. I went to the dealer one rainy afternoon to see how the car colors looked, knowing that there'd be all the dirt spots on them. And this one shined. It was on a CX-9. It looked fantastic. All the other ones, even the Incredible Soul Red or the Machine Gray Metallic, which is typically the color I get on new vehicles, they looked pretty bad. This looked fantastic. Even after it got off of the shipping truck yesterday, being disgusting, it honestly looked pretty darn good. And I knew if it gets rock chips, all those things that are gonna happen over time, you're not gonna notice it. You're not gonna be beating yourself up. You're not gonna even see the clear coat when it has issues on this, because in person, the snowflake white is pretty intense. It's not just like a regular boring paper white. It doesn't say Miata on the back, but you'll know what it is. It's an MX-5 Miata. There's been just over 1 million of these sold globally over the last 30 years. The United States only gets about 10,000 imported every year. So you don't see them very often, especially in climates like around where I live. And honestly, guys, I wanted to put my money where my mouth was. These vehicles are disappearing. Manual transmissions are going away. The Miata gets compared to the GR86 and the BRZ. In my opinion, it's not at all the same car. 500-pound difference. This is a convertible in any trim level. It's not the same, but that's the closest rival it has. Mazda selling 10,000 of these a year in the US probably doesn't make much money on it. I think they do this just because they believe in it. And I want to be one of the statistics that bought one to support their company. If more people bought the enthusiast model of cars, they wouldn't be disappearing at the rate they are. Guys, I've driven a lot of EVs. They're cool, but they're boring. Drive something like this while you can. Another crazy statistic is there are more F-150s sold in the United States any single year than there have been total Miatas over the last 30 plus years. Kind of crazy. I'm really excited to share the review with this and then all the other videos that come with it. Cool drives, scenic curvy roads, hopefully going to some track days and car meets and events with it to show you just how much fun you can have with an MX-5 Miata. If you guys are considering one, definitely go drive one, check one out, find one. They're kind of hard to find. Anyways, guys, my rant for today is almost over. I just wanted to share my brand new 23 Miata on the day I got it, on this 30-degree, pretty cold out, slightly windy day. Just while it's fresh in my mind, the emotions are real of finally getting to experience the car that I've been preparing for the last 7, 8 so months. It's going to be a really fun time sharing this with you guys, as well as getting to be behind the driver's seat. I'm looking forward to putting a whole lot of miles on this. Like always, guys, if you're interested in my content, typically it's car reviews, 0 to 60s, stuff about my outback wilderness, and now we have the MX-5 to play with. Hopefully there'll be some cool modifications and other things to come down the road. So consider liking this video to help it get shared. Subscribe if you want to bookmark my channel and watch what's to come and what has already happened. And then comment below, tell me your thoughts. Have you ever ridden in one? Have you ever driven one? Have you thought about it? Are you thinking about it? I want to know that stuff. Thanks for connecting, guys. Take care.